Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hang out with all these nerds today.
Ryan.
Ted.
Nathan Nerdark.
And today we have a GM 911 for you guys. To Warlock or not to Warlock.
If you have a GM 911 or a viewer suggestion, you can send those over to nerdarchy@gmail.com, or you can head over to the GM 911 section of our forum on nerdarchy.com.
And we should also say we're going to put in the description below the original question so you can read it for yourself.
All right, so the deal here is we have a player that's new to the game, and he's playing a ranger, and he put all of his key stats for a ranger in intelligence and charisma instead of where they would be a little more useful. He's dissatisfied with how this character plays out in combat, and now he's like, he's decided the solution is to multi-class into Warlock. And the DM is like, well, why don't you learn your class better first instead of adding another one? And really doesn't want him to multi-class.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first off, if a player makes suboptimal choices, you can kind of explain what it is and why. And mechanically, your class plays off of doing this thing. And so if you put a bad stat in doing the thing that you're mechanically built to do, obviously you're going to have bad results, So that's going to be one of the things. So really, I wouldn't be too hardcore about not letting them make tweaks and changes to their character because it's not playing well. So that's one thing.
For me, this is a new player. Let him do whatever the heck he wants.
I would be fine with statting. Personally, I don't.
If the player is inspired to go in a certain direction and he's new to the game, go with it. Even if I've got 7 different classes. Okay. If that's what's making the player happy.
Yeah, except for the character is going to play like crap, and the player is going to continue to be dissatisfied because of all these. So, maybe the solution is opposed to having them have any levels of ranger. Maybe the pact they get rid of all the ranger levels and they just become a warlock. If that's the direction, basically it is monoclassing makes more sense for a new player to just focus and learn all those things. But you should go where they want to go in a way. Right?
Yeah, Warlock, it actually makes it the easiest to do that. I will bring up a point that it's worth mentioning. Multi-classing is an option in the game, and you cannot allow it. Yeah. But here's the thing: it'd be a dick move to not allow it for only one player in one instance. I have seen other DMs say, if you want to multi-class in the Warlock, it has to be feasible. It's got to be RP'd. Our group isn't as strict about that. We were kind of figure it out. How did it happen?
We'll come up with the how and the why. The DM will work with you and make it happen. But so I'm just saying that the player not knowing anything about the game made some bad choices, and maybe you just ask him, well, would you just be happy just playing a straight up Warlock? And there you go. That solves your question of multi-classing, because now you have a single class Warlock.
Making him a single class Warlock, redoing the stats, and like Ted said, you could let him do what he wants, but is it really going to fix the problem? Is he going to just have another class that he doesn't understand
and not be good at playing?
And not be good at playing. Yeah.
So if you are going to go you got one direction of reworking the stats and making him being a better ranger. You can go Ryan's method and allow this character to be rewritten as a warlock when he takes his next level, and it supersedes his level of ranger, and he's now second level warlock or whatever level you guys currently are at. The other idea, if he and you agree that he's going to go ranger and warlock, Fey Pact is not all that far off from Ranger. They're both nature oriented, so it could kind of mix with a character theme, especially depending upon what type of Ranger was planning to be.
So here's another caveat to what Ted said as well. Allow it with, we have to have a discussion. We have to discuss how this happens, the story elements, and we have to address the elephant in the room, which is here's why your ranger isn't working very well. So let's have this discussion to make sure your ranger warlock still just doesn't work really well. I mean, it sounds like he has a high charisma anyway, because that's where he dumped one of his high stats, so that part will work.
Counter dump, whatever the antithesis of dump stat is, it's that. so
and then the other thing to do is anytime you as the DM, you have a rookie at your table, whoever you would consider your most veteran player that is able to deal with new players, have them sitting next to each other and work with the confines of the mechanics to teach those players. As DMs, it is not only our job to really tell the story, but it's also our job to share the hobby and to elevate those players. And at times that does entail assigning players together to help each other when one player is weak.
It's everyone's responsibility at the table. It's not just one person's, and the GM already has a bunch of stuff going on. So, like, this is actually kind of a thought pattern that, like, hopefully the whole group will take on and should be introduced, because it's a cooperative story. It's all of our story. And so the responsibility should be spread out.
Well, it also begs the question, is this happening at the physical table? Because if this is a virtual tabletop sort of situation,
right,
you don't have that two people or multiple people in the room with someone sitting right next to this player.
That's true.
So
someone has to get on a plane.
That's
all there is to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's definitely some options you have. You can work this out. All of those options, in my opinion, could work really well. But at the end of the day, you still need to have a conversation with that player and be like, and try and make them understand that they're always going to be behind if they don't really understand their character.
Right, and how it plays out, for sure.
Exactly. So, guys, you let us know in the comments below how would you handle it in your game. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
Check us out over on Snapchat.
You can check us out on nerdarchy.com.
Also, patronize us on Giveaway over on Patreon.
So until next time, stay nerdy.